I got a beard.
I like your beard.
I'm so glad you approve.
Yeah, right. Grizzly Adams had a beard.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Got me a beard.
He was a man. He had a beard.
Got me a beard. Yes, I got
St. Damian's beard.
got me a beard. Got me a beard. Got me a beard.
All right, welcome back once again to the Beardcast. Bit of a delay since the last time you heard me, but we are back this week. Want to talk about the hiatus from last week. Basically, with no class on Thursday, only having a couple days because of the holiday, I kind of felt we should probably just hold off and do it this week and kind of have a big one. Works out pretty well. Actually, we have a lot to talk about today. As far as classwork goes, just so you guys understand, because obviously there's no timestamp or anything on it, but this is being recorded Thursday afternoon before class, and we have a really big project, which I am going to get to. It's one of the last things I'm going to talk about. The big project we're doing today, and then we have our final test, because this is the last day of the intro to radio, which is kind of the first part of the curriculum. We're going into TV basics, and so that'll be a little bit of a different class, and obviously you guys, I'm still going to let you guys know how that goes. As far as what we did do, we had a couple days where we did some studio time. The test that we're taking a little bit later on today, and of course by the time you guys hear this, I will have already taken it. The test is essentially on terms. So what are the different buttons on the board mean? What does frequency modulation stand for? Terms, stuff like that. So we had a lot of handouts where Matt went over what was going to be on the test, what the terms were, and stuff like that. So it was a lot of class time the last couple of weeks. But we did get into the studios, do some work. And I have a couple bits of audio that I'm going to play for you. For the most part, nothing crazy. Just kind of the same stuff that we've been doing. Just kind of buttoning it up, easy for me to say, and making it a little tighter, a little more. What would the word be? A little more polished. Sounds pretty good. So I can jump right into it. Just going to play you a couple of the clips. They don't really need a lot of explanation because honestly, it's stuff that it's everything that I've talked about before. So we're going to do that. I'm going to play those. And from there, I will start talking about the big project that we're doing and also the big news that I have about my internship. So here's a couple clips, and I will be back with you in just a few seconds. The holidays are coming up fast. Do you have all your shopping done? No? Well, you're in luck. Because if you listen to Big Bob in the morning here on 104.9 The Edge, he's going to be giving away $1,000 every morning. All you have to do to enter to win is tweet with the hashtag BigBobCash. Every morning, Bob will be choosing one lucky listener to give away the $1,000 prize. So tune in for your chance to win. 104.9 The Edge. This is Daniel Victors with your AccuWeather forecast. Tomorrow we've got a high of 52 with a 40% chance of rain. Currently it's cloudy and 39 in Lombard. Here's Paramore with That's What You Get. Okay, so that was it. Just those two clips. Again, we did really most of the stuff in class. Now, one of the things you may have heard specifically on the Weathercast was actually my chosen radio name. One of the things that they've definitely told us to keep in mind is that you really don't want to use your real name on the radio. There are some that do. Your Howard Sterns or obviously Eric and Kathy, those are their real names. But a lot of times it makes a lot more sense for a lot of different reasons to change your name a little bit. Now, I kind of was debating on what I was going to use, but it seemed to me that it made most sense just to do, keep the initials the same and just do Daniel Victors. It seemed like it was pretty natural to go from Visage to Victors, nothing crazy, plus the middle name and everything. So that was my chosen name. So a lot of the stuff that you'll hear going forward also if I do give my name, and a lot of times I don't. But if I do, a lot of times it is going to be Victors as the last name, so you might hear that. And the two projects, obviously one was just a giveaway. It was a station giveaway, so obviously that wasn't a big national commercial type thing. It was just a station giveaway. And then the other was was the weather. So those were really all that we did. And again, a lot of it was just, the weather, of course, was the segue between two different songs, giving the weather, stuff like that. I'm actually going to talk about the internship first. Obviously, as I talked about a couple episodes ago, we got our cover letters and resumes approved that we were able to send out for internships, and I got a response back, actually. Valerie from 95.9 The River, which is out in Aurora, she emailed me in response to the application that I had, just wanting to know if I wanted to come in for an interview, that, she kind of liked what she saw and wanted to know if I wanted to come in. I was able to schedule something actually tomorrow, which is Friday, so depending on when you hear this, I may have already had it. We're actually going to have a phone interview. Her hours and my hours at work don't really work out for me to actually go in there, but she said a phone interview would be perfect. So it's really exciting. I've never done anything like this with an internship and all that kind of stuff. I've never done anything like that. And not only that, but I'd also be the first person in the class to get an internship if she does offer me one tomorrow. So that would be pretty exciting. Always good to be the first. And when I told Matt, our instructor, I actually tweeted it out that I had the interview, and Matt actually had tweeted me back and told me to make sure that I mention him and put him down as a reference if need be. And so that was really cool. I really appreciated that from Matt. So as far as details, it is a promotions internship. So I would be working, more than likely it would be weekends. I'm going to obviously explain to Valerie that would be my availability, with obviously work and school. Only really have the weekends to do anything. And the internship itself, with promotions, for those of you who may not know, generally speaking, a radio promotions intern is going to be doing things like the live broadcasts, or if there's a station giveaway at a new McDonald's or a new grocery store or something like that. Now, if I'm lucky during the internship time that I'm there, and most internships are usually a couple months, if I'm lucky, they may have a concert that I could get to go to, because sometimes they'll send the interns down to the concerts, because again, they're handing out prizes or just giveaways or whatever whatever to the listeners. And so that would be what I would be doing, is that type of work. So it's pretty exciting for me. Obviously, I want to do on air when it comes to when I graduate and get a real job in the industry, but part of the promotions thing that is exciting is getting to see that world, because you never know. Like I said, right now, I want to do on air. I want to be on the sports radio. I want to be my voice live on the airwaves all the time. But that job might not be there when I graduate. So this might be the best place or the best way for me to kind of make sure I have other options, just in case I can't get something right away. And so that's the big exciting news with the internships. And of course, next week I'll have more of an update on the results from the interview. On to what we're working on in class. Now, again, like I told you, we have the big test today. It's kind of the final test for radio before we move into TV. But one of the things Matt proposed to us actually last week was doing essentially a group project where everybody was going to work together, and as opposed to where he's been grouping us off into groups of two. Now, what we did last week, and I think I may have talked about it a little bit, at least what we were going to be doing in the last episode, in episode 5. But what we did last week, the biggest project that we had last week, was we did work in groups. I worked with Sean, and we did a kind of a live reading. We actually have a studio here in the school that it doesn't, I mean, we do have studios here that broadcast live, but one of just the audio studios that we have here for recording can also broadcast live directly to the classroom, so that Matt was able to get us into the studio, and we would be all set up, and while we were doing our show, putting our whatever songs and sound bites or whatever we wanted to put into the show, or what we were going to be saying, we'd be able to do all of that into the program. That all plays through onto the radio in the classroom, and he got to see how everything worked. What we worked on, and of course I don't have a recording of it because again it was live, but basically what we just did was the segues that we had talked about a couple weeks ago, where coming out of one song, previewing the next song, possibly doing a giveaway, stuff like that. What he wanted us to do was, as a group, one person to work the audio board, make sure that the levels stayed good and nothing was distorted or anything like that. And then the other person was actually doing the on-air. And then we would actually switch. So Sean and I did that. Went off really well. I actually, if I can remember, I know it was supposed to be a giveaway, and so mine was the gist of it was listen to Big Bob in the morning on 104.9 The Edge. He'll be giving away free movie passes to see The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. And then I teased a little bit of, for those of you who may not know, Smaug, which is obviously the character from the new Hobbit movie, is a dragon. So I played into the next song that I was playing, which was Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. And so I had said, there's a little known fact that Smaug's favorite band is actually Imagine Dragons. And then I played the song. So it was kind of a nice little segue. It was fun. While we were working on those, Matt had kind of teased that we were going to be doing this big group project and that it was going to involve Studio 11, which Studio 11 is, of course, the one that lets us play live. And last week when he was taking us to the studio, me and Sean, he was taking us down there, and he had said, when you're done, just come back to the classroom. Once everybody's done, we're going to talk about the big group project. And he turned to me and said, and I got the idea from you. Now, of course, I'm thinking, what did I say? When did I give him this idea? I really had no idea. And it turned out he was actually talking about this. Because I had mentioned to some of the people in class that I do this kind of weekly podcast, Beardcast, whatever you want to call it. I mean, whatever medium it is that I'm actually doing this on, whatever it is, the weekly status of what I've done in school. He thought that was a great idea, and he thought that as a class we should do essentially a longer version with everybody of the Beardcast, if you will. So he kind of gave us all assignments. Tom, one of my classmates, and I, he asked us to host. Tony is actually going to be our audio guy, so he's going to work the board while we're doing the live broadcast. And then we took a bunch of the clips of stuff that we've already done. We're going to play some of the funny ones that we're going to play, and then we had the rest of the group, because of course they're not hosting, they're not doing the audio board, so they're going to be part of it. So we had. Bob recorded a promo spot for Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Maritza and Ire both together, they actually recorded a commercial that's going to play during the show, because we are going to have to throw it to commercial and come back because he wants all those elements in there. Because, of course, it's being done, although this is kind of a podcast, it's being done as a radio show. So, obviously, it's a little bit different, but concept being kind of the same. And then the second part, the way that it's going to work is that Tom and I are going to work back off of each other as if it was a radio show, talking about Illinois Center for Broadcasting in the first 6 weeks of class, kind of the radio portion, and what we liked and all that kind of stuff. And we are going to throw it to Tony, because those of you who listen to the radio, and especially those of you who listen to sports radio, knows that the person who gets the most criticism, or the most that they make fun of the most, is actually the audio guy, the guy that works the soundboard. That's how it works. So we're going to be giving Tony a lot of jibes as we do the show. And then we're going to cut it to commercials. We got a couple commercials that we're playing, again, the ones from the girls, plus some of the stuff we did before. And when we come back, we're actually going to be doing some interviews. And I'm going to be doing 2 of the interviews. Tom's going to be doing 1, and then he's going to wrap everything up at the end of the show. But basically the interviews, the first group is actually going to be Sean and Tony, and we're going to talk about, I have a couple questions I'm going to ask them about the career services, so cover letters, resumes, and then internships. Second interview is actually going to be with Maritza and Ire, and I'm going to be talking to them about the projects that we've done in class, what their favorite one was, and then what their opinion is on homework, because we do get some homework every once in a while, and they usually complain about it, so I thought that would be funny to do. And then we are going to, the last section is going to be with Bob and Kathleen. And Tom's going to interview them, and he's going to be asking them questions about Matt, our instructor, and what we like about him, or what they like about him, I should say, and then how he's inspired them and stuff like that. So that's the big project that we're doing today. Now, we've had a little while to work on this, so it is going to be one of the more polished things that we've done. We actually have, I'm actually in, as I'm recording this now, I'm at the school, I'm in studio early, and Tom and Tony are actually going to also come in early so we can rehearse a little bit, so we can actually have everything down pat and be precise with it. So that's really the big project that we're doing. And it's actually funny because, honestly, he told us this. We're not being graded on it. as much as we are wanting to do the best, because come on, this is what we want to do in life, so we want it to be the best that we can. At the same time, what Matt really wanted us to take away from this is not so much the content of what we're actually doing, but really it's how can we work with the people? Because one of the things, as he says all the time, in his working life, he's got to work with a lot of different people from a lot of different departments, people that he may not necessarily get along with, but he has to work with, or maybe people that he doesn't like, but he has to get along with, I should say. And so he wanted us to work as a group, and that was the biggest thing. So even if we go in there and we stutter on our words or we don't have everything exactly perfect, he's not as concerned with that. He's really concerned with us working as a team kind of thing. And that's perfect for our group, because it's not often that he's got a class of 8 that he's able to then go in there and have them do one project as a whole entire group. I mean, that's really hard for them to do usually. So we'll be working on that. And obviously I was honored because, it's not often that an idea that you had almost on a whim, but something like that kind of takes off and you get recognized for doing it. So I was very honored that he mentioned that it was because of me that he kind of got the idea. So that was pretty cool. And again, I won't really have a recording for you next week of it because, again, it's we're doing it live, so there's nothing that actually gets recorded. But at the same time, we are going to try. So we've been talking about different ways that we can get it to be recorded, but we're not sure if we can get that down yet. But either way, it'll still be fun. But until I do talk to you next week, I'm going to wrap the show up pretty quickly here, so that I can start working on the project. But basically, just as I always say every week, if there's any feedback, if there's anything that you want to hear from me or not hear from me, let me know. Comment section on YouTube, message me on Facebook, send me a text, whatever you want to do. And until next week, and again, I will be going back to a weekly format. It was just because of Thanksgiving that I didn't. But we will have another update, and it'll be an exciting one. Probably won't have any content really to put on there for you because we will be starting a new section, a new part of the curriculum. We're going to be starting TV, but hopefully pretty soon I'll have something that I can actually put up as a video on YouTube for you guys to see of what we do in class. So until next week, thanks for listening once again, and I will talk to you on the Beardcast next weekend.
I'm so glad you approve it, yeah.